Hey guys, back again this week for another buttering breakdown video. Now first things first, and something I mention in every one of my videos, I am not an instructor, I'm not an expert, and I'm by no means a master. I'm just your average guy with a passion for snowboarding, and I wanted to use these videos to help share some of the things I've picked up along the way. Or wish that I had been told when I was first learning. My goal is to make these quick and easy to understand, so I'll try to keep them simple without being too technical. With that said, let's get to it. For this week, we'll be going over the Nollie. And for anyone who's been watching my channel, this will be very similar to the ollie video I posted a few weeks ago. Now, what is a Nollie? Simply put, a Nollie is one way for us to jump with our board, but instead of jumping off of our tail, like in an ollie, we'll be jumping off of our nose. Major points I'll be going over in this video. Point number 1, how to Nollie or breaking down a Nollie. Point number 2, Nollie don't pop. Point number 3, let the board do the work. And point number 4, one fluid motion. Great. With that said, let me grab my board, strap in, and we can get started. Alright, before we begin, remember to be in your normal stance. For me, I am a regular rider, which means my left foot is forward, and downhill will be to my left. As I've mentioned before, when I'm speaking to you guys on camera, I do tend to face forward, but when I'm actually practicing, I try to be in my normal stance, which in this case is this way. While fundamentally, ollies and nollies seem to be very similar, especially when practicing at home, they're going to feel a lot different on the mountain, and by making sure we're in our normal stance, we'll get a better idea for what it should feel like. So again, try to be in your normal stance, whether that's regular or goofy. Now let's begin. Point number 1, how to Nollie or breaking down a Nollie. As I said before, a Nollie is one way for us to jump with our board. This is a Nollie. When learning Nollies, I like it to break it down into two very distinct movements, 1 and 2. For those who watched last week's video, that first movement is going to be incredibly familiar. As I just mentioned, Nollies can be broken down easily into two very distinct steps. 1, a nose press, and 2, the jump. So let's go ahead and practice that. Remember, 1, nose press, 2, jump. One more time, 1, 2. Now why? To answer this, let's move on to point number 2. Nollie don't pop. Springing off of our nose is what makes a Nollie. We don't want to just be jumping up. While jumping up is a perfectly fine way to get some air, and is what is referred to as a pop, it is different from a Nollie, so try to keep these two differences in mind. Remember, for this video, we're practicing our Nollie. Point number 3, let your board do the work. The whole point of the nose press in a Nollie is to make your board do the work. By shifting our weight to the nose, we get this springiness in our board that wants to launch us up. So let's take advantage of it. By focusing on just shifting our weight, we really just let our board do everything else. In this case, it wants to spring me this way, might as well let it. Number 4, one fluid movement. While I've tried to show the Nollie as two separate and distinct movements for most of this video, the goal for your Nollie will really be to make it smooth and fluid. For the sake of this video, I've tried to keep them mostly separate for clarity, but as you practice more, you should be able to quicken these movements and really get your Nollie flowing smoothly. Instead of this, you want it to look more like this. Thank you for watching. Again, just remember to practice, whether it's in your living room or on the mountain. Practice makes perfect, and just getting familiar with these body movements will do a lot in terms of your progress. By building up the muscle memory for each of these tricks, they also become a lot more intuitive, which means you won't have to second guess yourself every time you want to throw one. Plus, this is something you can practice today before you get back to the slopes this weekend. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. I'll try to answer it as soon as I can. Have fun out there and stay safe.